Good evening everyone. Today we are going to learn the topic of clocks. So the first thing is that how a clock looks like. We all know how a clock looks like. So we have 12, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 and 12. We have a minute hand and we have an hour hand. This is hour hand and this is the minute hand, and the time between two numbers, that is 12 and 1 or 2 and 3, is divided into 5 sub-intervals. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5. Okay. Now every this much of distance on the clock is termed as 1 minute space. So when the clock completes 1 hour, then it will be going through 5 into how many? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 and 12. That is 60 minute spaces. So I repeat, in a clock, the distance between every two numbers is divided into 5 sub-intervals, and every sub-interval is termed as a minute space. So 5 into total of 12, that is 60 minute spaces, are there in one round of the clock. So in every 1 hour, we know that the hour hand will cover 60 minute spaces, whereas the minute hand will cover 60 minute spaces in a span of 1 hour, whereas the hour hand will complete 5 minute spaces in 1 hour. That is because when the time is 3 o'clock, and from 3 o'clock when the time becomes 4 o'clock, then the hour hand will move from 3 to 4, that is, it will cover 5 minute spaces, whereas the minute hand will complete 1 round and will cover 60 minute spaces in a span of 1 hour. So from here we can conclude that the minute hand, from these two equations we can conclude that the minute hand gains 55 minutes spaces over the hour's hand in every 1 hour, or which is nothing but 60 minute spaces. So this is the first important concept that we come across in the clocks chapter, and that is the minute hand gains 55 minute spaces over the hour's hand every 1 hour. So we have 55 minute spaces gained in 60 minutes. This is the first concept that we have to remember in this particular chapter. The second concept is that in every 1 hour, the minute hand will travel 360 degrees that is in 60 minutes the minute hand covers 360 degrees. So we can say that every single minute the minute hand will cover 6 degrees. I hope this concept is clear. In 1 hour, the minute hand will complete one round, that is 360 degrees. That is in 1 minute. If we say we have to calculate in 1 minute how much the minute hand moves, then it is going to be 360 degree upon 60 degrees, because every hour will consist of 60 minute spaces. So 360 by 60 is equal to 6 degree is the angle through which the minute hand will move every minute. Now similarly, finding for hour's hand will complete one round in 12 hours. That is, in 12 hours the hour's hand will cover 360 degrees. That is, when the time goes through 12 hours, then the hour hand will cover 360 degrees. So we can say that in 1 hour, 360 by 12, that is 30 minutes, that is 30 degree. That is 30 degree will be covered by the hour's hand every 1 hour. So in 60 minutes, the hour hand covers 30 degree. Therefore, in 1 minute we can say that the hour's hand will cover 30 by 60, that is 0.5 degrees. This is another important concept that we have to remember in clock's topic. So in a nutshell, we have 3 important points that we have to remember in the clock's topic for solving the questions. First is that 55 minute spaces are gained in 60 minutes by the minute hand over hour's hand. And the other important concept is that in 1 minute, the minute hand will cover 6 degrees, whereas in 1 minute, the hour's hand will cover 0.5 degrees. Now we have the concept of position of hands. Position of hands. So the two hands of the clock, that is the minute hand and the hour hand, can either coincide, that is angle between them in that particular case will be 0 degrees, or they can be at right angles to each other, that is 90 degrees, or they can be opposite to each other, that is the hour and minute hand make 180 degrees with each other. Now first we consider the case of coinciding. First we consider the case when the hour and the minute hand coincide. So now I am going to draw a clock, and in the clock we will show that at what positions and in between which two times, how many number of times the hour and the minute hand will coincide. One, two, 12, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Now these graphs that I am making are showing that in between these two time intervals, the hour and the minute hand will coincide once. Now what does this clock indicate? We are going to understand. When I made one cross between 1 and 2, it indicates that between 1 o'clock and 2 o'clock, the hour and the minute hand will coincide once. Similarly, between 2 and 3, the hour and minute hand will coincide once. But between 11 to 1, the hour and the minute hand will coincide only once and not twice, because they will coincide at 12 o'clock and not once between 11 and 12 and between 12 and 10 and between 12 and 1. The hours and the minute hand will coincide only once between 11 to 1, and in between all the other intervals they will coincide once. So we can say that hands of the clock coincide once every hour, but they will coincide 11 times in every 12 hours. That will be because they will coincide only once between 11 to 1 and not twice, and they will coincide 22 times in every 24 hours. Now I hope this concept is clear. Every cross represents one time that the hour and the minute hand will coincide between those two time intervals. The hands of the clock will coincide once every hour, but 11 times in every 12 hours and 22 times in every 24 hours. Now let us do a question relating to this. Now we have a question. See, whatever I am writing, whenever you have to note it down, you can simply pause the video and note it down. So the question that we have is that at what time between 3 o'clock and 4 o'clock the hands of the clock will coincide. We have to find the time between 3 o'clock and 4 o'clock when the hands of the clock will coincide. So it is very simple. See, when the clock is at 3 o'clock, then this is the clock, this is the position of the hour hand, and this is the position of the minute hand. Now, when the clock, let us assume that the hour's hand is fixed at 3 o'clock, and the minute hand has to, in that particular case, travel 15 minute spaces to reach the hour's hand. So we can say that we know from what we have done initially that 55 minute spaces are gained by minute hand every 60 minutes. So if we assume that the hour's hand is constant at 3 o'clock, then 15 minute spaces is what the minute's hand will have to move to coincide with the hour's hand, Now we know that 55-minute spaces are gained by the minute hand every 60 minutes. So 15-minute spaces will be gained by the minute hand in 60 by 55 into 15 minutes. And this will come out to be 16 4 by 11 minutes, and therefore 16 4 by 11 minutes, and therefore we can say that the time between 3 o'clock and 4 o'clock at which the minute hand and the hour hand will coincide will be nothing but 3 dot, that is 3 hours 16 4 by 11 minutes. So the time at which they will coincide is going to be 3 o'clock 16 4 by 11 minutes. Similarly, our next question, which is similar to this, is we have to find out at what time between 7 and 8 o'clock the minute and hour hand will coincide. The minute and hour hand will coincide. Now again, you see, when the time is 7 o'clock, then the hour hand will be somewhere here 7 and minute hand will be here 12. Now if we again consider, then to coincide, if we assume that the hour hand is constant at 7 o'clock, then the minute hand will have to travel 35 minute spaces to reach the hour hand. Now again applying the same formula, 55 minute spaces are gained by the minute's hand every 60 minutes. So 35 minute spaces will be gained by the minute's hand in 60 by 55 into 35 minutes, and this will come out to be 7 hours 38 minutes, 2 by 11 minutes. This is going to be the answer when we solve 60 by 55 into 35 minutes. We are going to get 38 2 by 11 minutes. So the time at which the hours and minutes hand will coincide with each other between 7 o'clock and 8 o'clock is going to be 7 hours 38 2 by 11 minutes. Now, similarly, we have a question that at what time between 11 and 12 o'clock the hands of the clock will coincide. Now, if you remember the diagram that we drew in the beginning, we can recall that the hour's hand and the minute hand do not coincide between 11 and 12 and 12 and 1 o'clock. Rather, they coincide exactly at 12 o'clock between 11 and 1. That is why the answer to this question will be there is no time between 11 o'clock and 12 o'clock at which the hours and the minute hand will coincide. Rather, the hours and minute hand will coincide exactly at 12 o'clock. Now we are going to do the next question or the next type, and that is when the minute and the hour hand are right angled to each other. So now again, I am going to draw a diagram of the clock, and from that diagram we will be able to calculate that between two particular time intervals, how many number of times the hours and the minutes hand will be right angled to each other. Now here, the numbers that I have written encircled in black is the number of times the hours and the minute hand will be 90 degrees or right angle to each other between those two time intervals. For example, between 2 and 3 I have written 1. That means between 2 o'clock and 3 o'clock the hours and the minute hand will be right angle to each other once. They will be right angle to each other once at 3 o'clock. They will be right angle to each other two times between 4 o'clock and 5 o'clock. And similarly, you can find out from this particular diagram that between two time intervals, how many number of times the hours and the minutes hand will be perpendicular to each other. Now we have a question. So what we can see from this particular diagram is that in general the hands of the clock are right angle to each other, twice every 1 hour, but 22 times in 12 hours and 44 times in 24 hours. So please note down this diagram. This will help you find how many times the hours and the minute hand will be perpendicular to each other between two time intervals. Now we are going to solve a question based on this. So the question is, I am going to orally say the question and we will be able to find out directly from this particular diagram the answer. Now the question is, how many right angles are there between 6:30 am to 12:30 pm? That is, when the clock moves from 6:30 am to 12:30 pm, then total how many right angle triangles, how many right angle positions of hour hand and minute hand will be there? Now you see, from 6:30 to 7 o'clock, we know that from 6 to 7 o'clock the hours and the minute hand will be perpendicular to each other twice, thereby between 6:30 to 7 the hours and the minute hand will be perpendicular to each other once. So 1 plus between 7 to 12, remember that we have to find out how many right angles are made between 6:30 am to 12:30 pm. So first we are going to find out the number of right angles between 6:30 to 7, then 7 to 12, and then between 12 to 12:30. Now we have calculated that there will be one instant at which the hour and the minute hand will be right angles to each other between 6:30 to 7, and between 7 to 12 o'clock the hours and the minute hand will be perpendicular to each other. 2 plus 1 plus 1, that is 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 9 number of times. And again between 12 to 1 the hours and the minute hand are perpendicular to each other twice. So between 12 to 12:30 the hours and the minute hand will be perpendicular to each other once. So in total we can say that 9 plus 1 plus 1, that is 11 number of times between, we can say that 11 number of times between 6:30 am to 12:30 pm the hours and the minute hand will be perpendicular to each other. I hope you've noted this down. Now we are going to do a question based on right angles. So the question is that at what time between 4 o'clock and 5 o'clock the hands of the clock will be right angle to each other. Now if we recall the diagram that we had made, from that diagram we can see that between 4 o'clock and 5 o'clock there will be two times at which the hour and the minute hand will be perpendicular to each other. So first, to do this particular question we should draw a clock. Now when the time is 4 o'clock, then the clock is something like this. Okay. Now again we are going to assume that the hour hand is constant at 4 o'clock position. Now for right angle to be there between the hour hand and the minute hand, it is possible either when the minute hand moves 5 minute spaces, then the angle between them will be 90 degree, or the minute hand moves, completes this round and comes here, that is at 7, 5, 6, 7. That is, this is the second position at 7 and this is the first position at 1. These two are going to be the two positions when the hour and the minute hand will be perpendicular to each other. So first case is when we assume that the hour hand is constant at 4 and the minute hand moves through 5 minute spaces and comes to 1. So again we are going to apply the same logic that 55 minute spaces are gained by the minute hand in 60 minutes. So 5 minute spaces are going to be gained by the minute hand in 60 by 55 into 5. That is this will come out to be 5 by 11 minutes. So we can say that at 4 o'clock 5 by 11 minutes the hour and the minute hand will be perpendicular to each other. This will be the first solution, and the second solution will come when we assume that the hour hand is constant at 4 o'clock but the minute hand moves from 12 o'clock position to 7 o'clock position, that is, it travels total of 35 minute spaces. So for 55 minutes spaces are gained by the minute hand in 60 minutes. So 35 minute spaces will be gained by the minutes hand over the hours hand in 60 by 55 into 35 minutes. And this is going to be 38 2 by 11 minutes. So we can say that at 4 o'clock 38 2 by 11 minutes, the hours and the minute hand will be perpendicular to each other. This is the second time apart from 4:55 by 11 minutes that the hours and the minute hand will be perpendicular to each other. Now there are few more questions. Which are remaining. As far as the clocks topic are concerned, we are going to do them in the next part of this video. And I hope that till now I have been able to explain all the concepts very clearly. So if you like the video, please click the like button, subscribe to my channel, and tell me that which topic you would like me to cover next. Thank you.